Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Paper Rose Studios' brand new Love Daydreams collection. They recently released several beautiful Valentine and love collections, and this is the second one I'll be using. I've already shared a video using their Heartwood House collection. If you missed that video, I will link it at the end of this video. I have both of the 6x6 paper packs for the Love Daydreams collection. They are both available in the 12x12 size, so if you prefer the larger paper, that is an option. I'll go through the Love Daydreams pack first. The paper pack includes 18 double-sided pattern papers. Several of the sheets have cut-apart images and sentiments. There are also several sheets that have a full design on them, but you could cut down just a portion of it to fit on a smaller card size. As soon as I saw this collection, I fell in love with the adorable critters. Here's a look at the designs on the back side of the papers. They're cute little envelopes with hearts flying out, sweet little critters with cupcakes, donuts. Here's a nice tone-on-tone polka dot design in blue. And then finally a sweet little puppy design. So there's a look at all 12 designs in the Love Daydreams 6x6 paper pack. And now I'll go through the Love Daydreams basic 6x6 paper pack. You can use each of the paper pads separately, or you can mix and match them together since the colors and designs coordinate perfectly. In the Basics collection, there aren't any cut-aparts, but lots of beautiful patterns. There are also several more designs that have the smaller icon images. This set includes more polka dots. There's a pink and white gingham, a colorful diagonal stripe. Here's one with bottles filled with hearts. There's a red tone-on-tone gingham, this sweet design with butterflies, bunch of hearts with an arrow going through, and then a final design, lots of critters holding presents. So there's a look at the 12 designs included in the Love Daydreams basic paper pad. I have 3 of the coordinating embossed die cut packs. In addition to the embossed die cut packs, there's also a cut apart pack available and a few other products that go with this collection. And I will add a link for the full Love Daydreams collection in the description box below. So I'll start with the Love Daydreams embossed die cuts. There are 4 sheets of 6x8 embossed pop-out die cuts. So no fussy cutting required. These simply pop out. After I pop out all the die cut pieces, I use a pair of scissors and trim off the tiny white tab to give them a cleaner look. Every single piece has the beautiful embossed glossy detail. I love the images in this set, especially all the adorable critters. Next up is the Love Daydreams Tags and Tickets Embossed Die Cut Pack. This pack also includes 4 sheets of 6x8 embossed die cuts. There are lots of great images, and this set also includes sentiments. Many of the sentiments are love or Valentine, but there are also quite a few images that don't have a sentiment, so you could use those for a variety of different card themes. This set also includes some smaller images. There are a bunch of hearts, several buttons, and these work perfectly as embellishments on your card or project. The final embossed die cut pack is Love Daydreams Quick Cards Die Cuts. This set also has 4 sheets of 6x8 embossed die cuts, and these are the same die cuts that are included in the Quick Cards collection kit, but you can also buy them separately. This set includes several large images with a colored frame, plus a ton of sentiments. And the last 2 sheets feature more images, tags, and ticket designs. So there's a look at the 5 products from the Love Daydreams collection that I'll be using in this video. If you are interested in any of the products, I do have them linked in the description box below. I'll be sharing 7 different card designs using this collection, so hopefully that'll provide you some inspiration. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I will be using some card sketches for inspiration. The first sketch is from OWH. It's sketch number 23. And if you're interested in the sketches, I share all that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. For my first card, I selected 2 pattern papers for the background. The wider piece has the little dogs hugging and dancing together. That one goes at the top, and at the bottom, the narrower strip, it's the red tone-on-tone with the heart design. The 2 pieces together are 5 1/4 of an inch by 4 inches, and I'm layering it on some dark brown cardstock. The cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch, so 5 3/8 of an inch by 4 1/8 of an inch. For a little bit of separation and shine between the 2 pattern papers, I did add a Love from Lizzie peel-off. This is the pinstripe style in gold. When putting my card front onto a card base, I left 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For the narrow strip on the left side of the card, I used some of the wood grain pattern paper. After adhering that down, I'll add a stitch circle die cut, and the circle dies are from Paper Rose. I'll put glue on the back, adhere the circle in place. And now I'll add one of the embossed die cut images. And to match with the pattern paper on the background, I selected the image with the 2 little dogs hugging, and there's a bunch of tiny red hearts above them. I did pop up the sentiment using some foam dimension. I'll add the sentiment Love You, and this is one of the embossed die cuts. The very left side of the sentiment will sit on the edge of the circle. To help keep it at the same level, I'll add a scrap piece of cardstock behind the sentiment, just not in the area where it sits on the circle. Then I'll put glue on the back and adhere it on the right side of the image. For a final finishing touch, I'm adding a small banner in the upper right-hand corner using more of the dark brown cardstock. I'll cut a fishtail on the bottom, put glue on the back, and adhere it in place. And the cardstock piece I used for the banner is 5/8 of an inch by 7/8 of an inch. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. The first 2 cards feature the same pattern paper. I just switched out the embossed die cut. Also used a square for that card that has the little postage tag. And the other 2 cards I used different pattern paper. It's a bunch of sweet little fairy images. Now moving on to card design number 2. The sketch is from Mojo Monday. This is sketch number 543. This card will feature 3 different pattern papers. For the background, the wider panel has all the little critters holding hearts, and then the narrow strip on the right side is the bluish teal polka dot paper. I'll add both of these pieces on some blue cardstock. And I think I miscut my cardstock layer. It was supposed to be 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. But when I was adding the 2 pattern paper pieces, they didn't fit on there right. I even had to overlap them just a tiny bit. Once I add it on a card base, that's where I really noticed that I miscut that cardstock piece. For a little separation and shine between the 2 pattern paper pieces, I'm adding a Love from Lizzie peel-off. This is the pinstripe style in silver, and I'm using the widest width. I will be covering up most of the area, so I was able to use some small scrap pieces. I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, and here's where you can see how much I miscut that blue cardstock piece. It's a little over 1/8 of an inch too short. The easiest way to fix my error is to simply trim off the extra white card base. For this strip going across the card, I'm using some light blue cardstock. And since I messed up the measurements on the background, now that blue cardstock piece will be a little bit too long, so I will need to trim off part of it. For the rectangle piece in the upper right-hand corner, using the red tone-on-tone heart paper, and I decided to layer it on some white cardstock. After adhering that piece in place, I'll put adhesive on the back of the light blue strip and adhere it right underneath. There will be a little bit of a gap between the heart pattern paper and the light blue cardstock, but that's okay. It will be covered up with one of the embossed die cut images. I selected this fun party image with the dog, fox, and balloons. I'll put glue on the back, adhere the circle embossed die cut in place, and for a sentiment, I'm adding the XOXO. I'll add the sentiment on the left side of the image. The very right side will sit at the bottom of the circle embossed die cut. So before adhering it down, I did put a scrap piece of cardstock behind the sentiment on the left side. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. The first 2 cards feature the same pattern paper, and the other 2 cards I used the heart pattern paper for that wider strip and the pink polka dot paper for the narrow strip on the right side. For card design number 3, the card sketch is from MFT. This is number 549. For the background of my card, I selected the pattern paper with the pinkish red envelopes, and they have colorful hearts just bursting out of the open envelopes. That piece is 4 inches by 5¼ inches. For the 2 strips going diagonally on the card, the wider one I'm using the pink polka dot, and the narrow one kind of looks like the sky with some clouds. It's this very light teal color. I did leave the strips the full 6-inch size. That way I knew they were long enough to go diagonally on this piece. After adhering them both down, I flipped over the panel and trimmed off the overhang using a pair of scissors. For a little bit of separation and shine, I'll put a Love from Lizzie peel off on the outside edge of those 2 diagonal strips. I'm using the pinstripe style in pink holographic. I'm using the widest width, so it has a ton of sparkle. I know I'll be covering up the very center with the image, so I'm able to use some of the smaller peel off pieces. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some raspberry cardstock, and the cardstock piece is an additional 1/8 of an inch, 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. We'll put more adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5½ inches. I cut out 2 circles using Paper Rose's Stitch Circle die set. I used white cardstock for the smaller one and more of the raspberry cardstock for the larger size. I'll glue the 2 circles together, then put more glue on the back, add the circle on the card. The image I'm adding on this card is this sweet little elephant holding a love note. I did pop up the elephant using foam. I've been using scrapbook.com's small and large foam squares in the 1 millimeter thickness. For a final finishing touch, I'll use a small scrap piece of the raspberry cardstock, cut a banner, and add it in the upper left-hand corner. And the cardstock piece is 5/8 of an inch by 7/8 of an inch. It's my favorite size for banners. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. The first 2 cards feature the envelope pattern paper for the background. The other 2 cards feature the heart and butterfly pattern paper for the background. On the cards with images that didn't already have a sentiment, I did add one of the embossed die cut sentiments. Now moving on to card design number 4, and I'm not using a card sketch this time. For the background pattern paper, I'm using the one with the critters, donuts, cupcakes, and cookies. I cut that piece to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. On the left side of the card, I'm adding a 1 3/4 inch strip of the pink polka dot pattern paper. To add that little bit of sparkle and separation, I'm putting a Love from Lizzie peel off along the edge of the pink polka dot. This is the pinstripe style in pink holographic, and this time I'm using the medium width. I did leave a little gap area where I know I'll be covering it up with the image and sentiment. Wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some dark brown cardstock, and the brown cardstock piece is 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. Put more adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base. If you don't like the look of the white card base showing, you can always cut that background cardstock piece to A2 size. I'll be adding an image and sentiment on a stitch circle die cut. For the smaller circle, I use white cardstock, and the larger circle, I use dark brown cardstock. I'll adhere the two circles together, put glue on the back, and add the circles in the upper left-hand corner. Most of the cardstock I use for my cards is from my stash. There's not always a brand or color name, but for this dark brown color, this is something I recently purchased. It's from Arden Creative Studio. It's the coffee bean color, and I will link it in the description box below. For a sentiment, I'm adding "You Are So Sweet." I'll put glue on the back, adhere it at the bottom of the white circle, and then the image features two little fox images holding cupcakes with a red heart on top. And I did pop up this image with more foam dimension. For embellishments, I'm using more Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the same pink holographic color. This time I'm using the mini circle style. I'll put 3 in the upper right-hand corner and 2 on the left side underneath the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. The first 2 cards feature the same image, just one of them's a little bit smaller. The other 2 cards feature the pattern paper with lots of critters with presents. Since the paper packs include duplicates of the same pattern paper, makes it super easy to make multiples of the same card. For card design number 5, the sketch is from Cards TV. This is sketch number 67. For the background of my card, I'm using this fun heart pattern paper, and that piece is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. Across the card, I'm adding some of the light blue solid cardstock. To add that little bit of shine and separation, I'll put a Love from Lizzie peel off just on the inside of the blue cardstock strip. I'm using the pinstripe style in gold, and this is the narrowest width. I'll add 1 strip at the top and another one at the bottom. Wrap the ends around the back, then layer this piece on some red cardstock. That cardstock layer is 5 3/8 of an inch by 4 1/8 of an inch. Then I'll put more adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now on the sketch, it does list that background cardstock piece to a full A2 size. I just really like the look of the white card base border. For this set of cards, I'll be adding one of Paper Rose's sentiment sheet cut-aparts, the Happy Valentine's Day. I'm showing you the black and white card making sentiment sheets, and for 2 of the cards, I am using one of the black background with the white font. But for this card, I'm using the gold and silver card making sentiment sheet. So it's basically the same thing, but it has gold foiling for the letters or silver. For my card, I'm using the gold to match with the gold peel off. I am layering it on 3 sides with some red cardstock, and I'll add the sentiment on the right side underneath this blue strip. One of the cut apart sheets has 4 small 1-inch squares. So when I saw this sketch, I knew it would be perfect. After cutting those 4 squares out, I did layer them on some white cardstock. It's a very small border, maybe around 1/16 of an inch. I'll put glue on the back of the 4 squares and adhere them following the design of the card sketch. So I'm putting each of them at different angles. Before adhering all the squares down, I did place them on the card without adhesive. That way I can get them evenly spaced. For a final finishing touch, adding another banner. This time I'm cutting a fishtail on the bottom, then I'll cut the right side in slightly at an angle, flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. I call this my whimsical banner. I'll put glue on the back and add it in the upper left-hand corner. So there is my finished card. I did make 4 using this design. The first 2 are basically the same. The other 2 cards I used the blue polka dot pattern paper, and instead of cut-aparts, I added 4 of the heart embossed die cuts. And I also used the white sentiment on the black background for the sentiment cut-aparts. For card design number 6, the card sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 696. And I do end up changing up this sketch just a little bit. The background of my card features all the sweet little critters hugging red hearts. That piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I'll layer it on red cardstock. That piece is an additional 1/8 of an inch. I'll add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For the narrow strip in the center, I'm using the diagonal stripe colorful strip. I'll first layer it on some red cardstock. And I did cut the strip just a tiny bit smaller than what's indicated on the card sketch. It's 1 5/8 of an inch by 4 1/4 of an inch, and then that cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch. This was the first time trying out this sketch. It's a fun design, but I felt like it needed a little something extra. With the background pattern paper and that stripe paper being fairly busy, I felt like it was really getting lost on the card. So I added a stitch circle die cut behind the stripe paper. I used a light blue cardstock. And just that little bit of blue cardstock really helped the stripe paper and then later the cut apart image stand out against that busy background. This card features one of the 2 by 3 inch cut aparts, so it's a little bit longer than what's indicated on the card sketch. I'll first layer it on the same red cardstock, then adhere it on the stripe paper. And for a sentiment, I'm adding one of the embossed die cuts. This is one of my favorite sentiments for Valentine's Day. Happy Heart Day. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. The first 2 are basically the same, I just used a different sentiment. The other 2, the background features the postage stamp pattern paper and added the sentiment sending lots of love, and this is one of the cut aparts. Now moving on to my final card design, number 7. The card sketch is from Mojo Monday. This is number 376. This card will feature 4 pattern papers. For the rectangle piece that will go behind the image, I'm using the pink polka dot paper, layering it on some of the raspberry colored cardstock. For the very background of the card, I'm using the pink and white gingham at the top, and the bottom features the critters with all the sweets, donuts, cookies, and cupcakes. For the narrow strip going across the card, I'm using some of the light wood grain pattern paper. I'll add the larger panel down first, then the pink and white gingham at the top. Together, the 2 background pieces are 5 1/4 of an inch by 4 inches, and my cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch. Next, I'll add a Love from Lizzie peel off between the 2 background pattern papers. I'm using the gold in pinstripe style, the medium width. I didn't have any scrap pieces in this medium width, but I will cut this peel off strip, leave a gap on the left side since I know that area will be covered up. Now I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next, I'll add the large image rectangle on the left side, and I did cut the pattern paper piece just a little bit smaller than what's indicated on the card sketch. The pink polka dot piece is 3 1/4 of an inch by 3 1/2 inches, And the raspberry cardstock layer is 3 3/8 of an inch by 3 5/8 of an inch. Next, I'll add a white stitch circle die cut, glue on the back and add it in the center of the pink polka dot panel. For this card, I'm using one of my favorite embossed images, this sweet little dog surrounded by cupcakes. I did pop it up using more foam dimension. I'll remove the release paper, add the image, and instead of putting it in the very center of the circle, I put it a little bit lower so I am covering up that bottom area of the circle die cut. For a sentiment, I'm adding "You're So Sweet," and this is the sentiment that was included on one of the 2 by 3 inch cut-aparts. I simply trimmed off the sentiment. I layered it on the same raspberry cardstock, and I'm adding it in the upper right-hand corner of the pink polka dot panel. On the very right side of the sentiment, the area that goes off of the pink polka dot paper, I'll put some foam dimension, but on the left side, I'll add glue. We'll make sure the sentiment's on nice and straight before the glue dries completely. So there is my finished card, and I think this one is my favorite from the whole set. I love this sweet little dog image. I did make 4 cards using this design. 2 of the cards feature the same pattern paper, but all the cards have different images and sentiments. I plan on using this set of cards as Valentine's Day cards going to the residents at a nearby retirement home. I think the cute little images will make them smile. Now here's another look at the 28 cards I made using Paper Rose Studios' brand new Love and Daydreams collection. I used both of the 6x6 paper pads along with 3 of the embossed die cut sets. This collection is super cute. I had so much fun using it. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Paper Rose is located in Australia, and they do ship internationally, but you can also purchase their products here in the US, and I have links for both locations listed below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.